Welcome to Leading for Wellness. I'm Liesl Bernard, CEO of Cologne Executive Search and Leading for Wellness events. Each week, we dive into the journeys of visionary wellness entrepreneurs, uncovering their secrets to success. Get ready for insightful conversations that will inspire you to elevate your business and prioritize your well-being. Let's dive in. Hi, Ari. I'm so glad to have you here with us today. I'm really excited to chat about TikTok and Meta. You founded Like and Likes. It's a company that helps companies grow on Meta and TikTok. But I want to start out by asking, how did you come up with the name Like and Likes for your company?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like all process for names, we just went through a variation of a ton of them. I think one of them was like cacti, which is like for CAC, right? So like customer acquisition costs. And then we just wanted something more fun though. I think that was really the biggest thing, right? Like my business partner and I, my business partner is named Daniel Andriani. He was a
Mhm.
executive creative director of BBDO. And so he's an incredible brander, an incredible marketer. And so he just came up with a bunch of these cool names. And after my last business, I really wanted something that was fun and catchy and like made people like want to like us, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think everyone's so focused on all the likes you get on social media now. So I thought it was a pretty catchy name.
Yeah, exactly. Really kind
Yeah,
of hits the social media side of it.
yeah, absolutely. So, just for those people that, are not familiar with TikTok and Meta, what's the difference between those two if you're, in the CPG space?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference is just how you approach them, right? Like at the end of the day, they're both places that you need good creative to be successful on the ad side. But really, it's the TikTok is so much about like creators or like influencers or affiliates, however you want to say it. While Meta is really about in-house making ads yourself. Yes, you can get influencers, and yes, you can do that side, but it's often much more successful to actually start making ads yourself.
Yeah. So the Meta is really Facebook and Instagram, right? Does it include
Yep.
anything else outside of Facebook and Instagram?
Oh, they own WhatsApp too, right? I think that's only going to become relevant as they release these glasses, right? And they're trying to have everybody uh, talk on their glasses. But for right now, it's just Meta and Instagram and Facebook at least. Sorry, Instagram and Facebook.
So I want to know, how did you get started? You initially started your own CPG brand, right? It was a green tea brand. And then how did you evolve into now helping companies be successful on these platforms?
Yeah, so it was a mushroom matcha brand is what I did. It was called Hone. Ran it for about 5 years. We were in Erewhon and Kroger and a lot, mostly online. And so we bootstrapped the entire thing. So that's really basically why I learned this whole thing is I had to know. I had to be the person basically in charge of all of our e-commerce and all of our go-to-market in general. And so I took classes, I talked with people. I basically went through the entire process of learning as quickly as I can about how to do e-commerce. And we were quite successful. I mean, like we got our CAC down to industry highs or lows, right? Where it was like under $30 for a $60 item. We kept growing and our subscriptions were always really great. And so I intimately knew how to do the processes to make a successful e-com brand. We had to end our business because of X amount of reasons, but it was really just me learning the entire process and being like, hey, I know how to do this. Maybe I should just start applying it to other new brands.
And that's how you all started.
Yep.
So tell me, how did you learn? Because I think a lot of people are a little bit deer in their headlines especially when you start talking about TikTok and how to promote your brand on TikTok. So how did you go about the process, and what's available today for people that are looking to learn? And, maybe you could share a bit what you guys do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went through a company called Mint CRO to actually learn how to do growth marketing. It's an expensive course, but it was super helpful for exactly what I was looking for to do. I learned how to basically find out how to make converting content. I think that's really the first thing that you want to learn how to do is make content that makes people buy things, right? And
And
so
that's both on Meta and TikTok?
yeah, I mean, it's basically everywhere, right? So any advertisements, like why do you purchase something, right? It's like that behavior and that psychology behind it And it's really just you're solving a problem, right? So
Mhm.
you're creating content that's solving a problem, and you're solving a problem that people actually care about, right? And so like for Hone, which was like a mushroom matcha like coffee alternative, we went through all of these different tests to find out exactly what was the issue that people cared about. And it really came down to focus and Adderall replacement, right? Like that kind of language, right? And so how do you find that language that makes people stop their on their phone and click on that and then like it and then actually as well start to purchase, right? And so our systems break that down pretty intimately. We'll scrape the internet to find out where your customer is, all your competitors. We'll find out what pain points people actually care about. Then we'll go in and we'll actually test those pain points. We'll test to find out what pain point people actually care about. Is it I can't get enough focus? I'm like I struggle to get out of bed every day, right? It's like I need less stress, like all these things, right? And then you actually dive into it more where you say, okay, now I'm going to turn into these headlines where it's like, oh, how do you get how to get focused every day, right? How to do these types of things. Then we test those, and we turn those in benefits, then we turn those into short headlines, and then we turn those into video scripts, right? And then as soon as you actually have every single aspect of what makes sense and what actually converts, then you can start sending these to content creators on TikTok, or you can start making those videos yourselves for Meta.
Mhm. So there's actually a huge cost difference, right, between advertising on Meta and on TikTok. I think most people think, oh, it's, if you get an influencer and you can get them to promote your product, you're off and running and you're making money. But really, the reality is that it's probably going to take at least 6 months of investing in TikTok and typically quite a bit of money before you start seeing a return. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so how I look at the two platforms now is TikTok is really not a very profitable place until you get to $200,000 a month, right? Which is obviously a lot.
And that's
Um,
revenue?
revenue. Yep.
Okay.
Um, but you can get to 200,000 in 6 months to a year if everything goes accordingly. And that happens fairly often, at least more often than Meta, right? Uh, but you basically, why it's so expensive is you have to pay for ad costs. You have to pay for managing affiliates. You have to pay for giving commission to the affiliates themselves for their purchase. You have to pay for all of these different aspects of it. And you have to pay for a lot of samples because businesses send out 30 samples a day often to these creators. And so when you add everything up, it's really hard to be profitable.
Mhm.
However, you're getting so many views on content that because of it, it becomes it's it's scalable quickly and it helps every other aspect of your business. So like because so many people are seeing your product now, if you have a good Amazon page, people will go to your Amazon. If they have you, they'll start Googling you more. So your Google ads, revenue will go up. Your website revenue will go up. Even retail will go up, right? Because like people will actually start to see your product more. So it's really just depends on how big you are in your business and how much omnichannel you are.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And what products are most successful? I think a lot of the clients we work with, they're either selling a branded ingredient, and then obviously there's supplements and other CPG products as well. How do you determine what kind of products are best for what platform?
I mean, both. I think like with that specifically what you just mentioned, that genre of product is really good on both, right? You just have to know how to advertise. You have to find the right people to reach out to. Supplements are like huge part of TikTok right now. I think like probably almost 10% of sales are on it, right? Which is big compared to Meta, which is not going to be that big because it's so much B2B.
Mm-mm.
Um, so like your supplements are very available on TikTok. It's always going to be saturated, so you have to do it right though.
I think what a lot of people don't know is that TikTok also has their own distribution channel, right? So it's not
Yep.
just seeing the product and then going to either Amazon or, your website to buy, direct to consumer. Tell us more about how the back end of TikTok works for those people that don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think just before I kind of dive into that question, right? It's important to honestly change your view on TikTok and I think of it more as Amazon, as a competitor to Amazon than almost anything else. They
Mm,
have a sophisticated system of selling products, right? On their back end, they have a product page that is as hard to set up as your Amazon page, right? Obviously, it's easier, but it's pretty intense, and right, you have to get all these certifications in, right? Then they have campaigns that they're constantly running. They have keyword searches. They have keyword ads that you can run. Their ads is the way that they bring their ads to creators and then bring it back to all to sell your product on their platform is just as sophisticated, if not more sophisticated than Amazon, frankly. And so like they already have this huge ecosystem to just sell products, especially in the US. That's what TikTok Shop is in every country because it is such a sophisticated system. And then as well, they have their own fulfillment, right? So they have TikTok official fulfillment that you can just send your product to, which it's not competing with Amazon FBA yet, but I give it a few years and I bet they'll do the same thing where they give 2-day free shipping.
Wow, that's fascinating. So,
Yeah.
a huge competitor to Amazon on the horizon here.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people also don't realize that TikTok is very influencer driven in that, you've got a budget to pay almost a retainer fee to a number of influencers to promote your product. And then you also have to guide them on how to sell your product, right? Can you share a little bit more about that whole process? Because I think most people just think that, oh, you just, say something on TikTok and someone will buy, but there's a lot more that go into that whole sales cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. It's kind of why I started with the system that we go through to actually create converting content, right? Like there's a whole system before we even start making content. Uh, and as soon as you have that, then you're basically training those influencers and those creators to do that. However, and this is just the truth, like some of these creators are just very talented, right? They make $100,000 a month off of revenue that they sell themselves from videos. So they know what they're doing. You just have to find those people, and you usually have to pay them. And you also have to be a product that they believe will actually work because they make money off the commission way more so than the retainer. Um, and so what we do, right, is we have a baseline system that we're going to send them. We're going to send them exactly what we believe content will work. We can even send them scripts if they want it. We do one-on-one with our creator who has 2.4 million followers, right, to help them with the system. Then as it's kind of going, we actually are constantly tracking what competitors are doing and how well those competitors are doing. Then we'll start sending those videos to those creators every day almost to say, hey, this did really well with a competitor, try this out. And a lot of time those creators will legitimately just mimic that exact video to try to get as many views.
And how do you
Um,
track it? Like, how do you track what everyone is doing? That alone is a full-time job. Do you have a whole team that does that, or do you use AI? What's your strategy?
Yeah, there's tons of different tools, right? So Motion is one of them that we use, right? And then there's also like different competitor ones. Fuel Growth was one that we used where we're actually tracking to seeing what content's doing well. A lot of times, especially with TikTok, it's very public, like how well videos do. You can go on Calidata and search up a specific video to see how much revenue that video is made from what product, right? And so it's very available. We also have VAs, right, that are constantly tracking this stuff and then sending it to us, who we send to the client, right? It's it's a constant process and it's fairly intense, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So really getting onto TikTok on your own is almost like not even possible, right? You need to have a whole system and a strategy, and you've got to have a huge budget. I think you mentioned in a previous conversation we've had that you need to allocate at least a couple of 100,000 in order to just get onto TikTok and start seeing the results. Can you share more about the cost involved in just getting started in TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, so recommended, right? It's like to start out at 5 to 20K a month just for TikTok. That's not including agency fees. So
Mhm.
like 5 to 10K for ad fees, for retainer deals. Those retainer deals are those 100K plus creators to make 30 videos a month for you, right? So yeah, like you want to try to find 5 to 20 of those right out the gate to get you going. You also want to have your own in-house ad creation if you can, right? And so like we're talking, let's just go ahead and say 20K a month is a good baseline. And you want to do that for 6 months,
Before you
right?
see any results, right?
No, I mean, hopefully within 2 months, you're starting to see results.
Mhm.
So it's not 120K like flat out, I would say. But like you're at 6 months, the goal is to be breaking even. So like with everything. And so hopefully you're making 40 to 60K a month by month 6.
Hmm. And what's the difference with Meta? Not that much of an outlay initially on Meta, but the results are not as large, as you start get going.
Yeah, I mean, so Meta is just it's a little bit easier to track profitability, as in like you're basically just trying to make ads that get to a 3x, 4x ROAS by month 6. So like how we do it is like every month we make new creative and we recommend a 10K ad budget a month until we get to break even. And then we start to scale it, right? So
Mhm.
then we go from 10K, then we will quickly want to go to 30K a month, but that's already we're at break even. And we just want to scale up break even and then try to scale even obviously above break even if we can. But the goal in my mind, basically with a lot of these social platforms, is to scale break even and then a little bit profitable because really what you're going for is repeat purchases.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think a lot of agencies that say that they can scale you at like 6x ROAS and really profitable, uh, it's not often that that happens in general.
So, what advice do you have for anyone that's sort of looking at a product that they've created recently and want to get onto any of these platforms? Where do they start? Do you recommend them reaching out to an agency like yours or so forth? And I think also we really didn't touch on exactly what you guys do. We sort of got right into the conversation, so maybe as part of this answer you can give your recommendation and maybe also share what you do for clients and what the program looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it always depends on your budget and how you want to approach things, right? Like I'm not if you have investment and you have you know how to go about these systems, I would recommend doing it yourself and trying to put it in house. I think the thing that you have to realize is how much time and effort it actually is, right? So, like, if you want to make this your business, essentially understanding e commerce and diving into it, then do it in house, right? And learn the
Mhm.
systems and do it. And then, like, get a creative person himself, find somebody to manage affiliates and go through that entire process. um, if that's not your business, if your business is retail, if your business is basically trying to get investment, if you have a bunch of other things going on, which you likely do, then like you probably should find a good agency, right? Because that agency will they're in it every day,
Yeah.
right? And these platforms are changing every day. Like we just found out some new knowledge about how Meta looks at ads, right? And because we're in it, and that was 2 weeks ago, and that totally changes how you approach ads, right? And so it's really agencies themselves, just at least a good one, will know exactly what's going on and they'll be on top of it all,
Yeah,
right?
but algorithms change all the time, right? On how.
Algorithms change all the time, and then like the affiliates change all the time. You have to have a community of affiliates that you're working with, right? How we do things, right? And so we will go through the process of scanning all of your competitors, seeing how they're doing. We'll scan the internet to see what content's working. We'll go test that content, and then we'll go start making ads for you. So, like I said, my business partner, he was the ex-creative director at BBDO, and so he will take amazing content or amazing themes and turn it into content that fits your brand, that works well with your brand, but also starts to convert, right?
Mhm.
And so it'll make basically a full new brand for your ads that go along with how your system is. It's real, it's legitimate, and it works well. And we turn that content into creator content on TikTok. So we have a Discord community of 200, 300 like high GMV creators as well as high influencer creators that we immediately can match you up with. Then as soon as we find out what you're looking for, we'll actually go find those creators very specifically. We'll recruit them in, and then we'll start working with them like on a day-to-day basis to make sure that their content is going well. If they don't prove themselves in a month, then we find a new creator for you, right? And it's just like it's a little bit cutthroat, but that's
Constant,
kind of
yeah, yeah. It's a
yeah,
constant process and you're monitoring it all the time.
yep.
I'm in the executive search space, as you know, and it's really interesting to see how many of our clients are now pivoting their whole branding and marketing strategy and hiring people that are expert, in social media and TikTok and Meta, et cetera, and really adding a lot of talent in that space. And I think that's going to completely change marketing and branding within organizations as well. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just true, right? Like you really have to be in this world, right?
Yeah.
Because like you can now have your marketing break even, right? Or be profitable, obviously is the goal. But like just having your marketing break even is massive, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have millions of views and you're making the same amount of money that you're making good money off of it as well.
Hmm.
Before just to get millions of views costed you X amount of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now now you can
And I think
track it so intimately.
and a lot of these brands can't just rely on their own websites anymore or
Mhm.
Amazon to drive sales, that they really have to incorporate Meta and TikTok and these other platforms in order to, keep up with what's going on. So it's really fascinating to see how everything is changing so quickly with AI and all of these other platforms.
Yeah, and I mean, just like it's pretty cool, right? I think having TikTok as a whole new platform just allows more revenue to be created in general, right? I think like it's not taking it away from Amazon. I think it's just making it so now you have another platform that you can be successful on, and you can make more revenue online.
Yeah, yeah. So the way consumers behave are changing completely, and it's a fascinating time.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So is there anything else that you think is really relevant that you'd like to share, and especially for our um, listeners, typically our listeners are people in the supplement industry and CPG space, what other recommendations do you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think with TikTok, I think a good one is it's at this point, you should find retainer deals. So as in find creators that make 50K GMV a month at least. So 50K GMV means gross merchandise value. So that's just the revenue that they're generating from their videos and from their ads. You should find those creators and you should pay them $500 to $1,000 a month to make 15 to 30 videos. And you should find at least 5 of those. Just like that's a great way to start, right?
How do you
So
find them? So for the average person or the average company out there, how do you find these influencers? Do there's sort of like an ad agent, I mean, an agency you can access these people? What's your recommendation?
no, it's actually pretty easy, to be honest. It's like, so if you have a TikTok shop, if your company has a TikTok shop, you go on there and then you find the affiliate center on the TikTok shop and you log in and then you can just search for creators, right? And you can like filter it by the amount of GMV they make, by their category, by everything. I think what you want to be cautious with though is that the category search isn't that good on TikTok. So you want to go in and actually look for that creator and you want to actually go through what their content they make, if that's
Hmm.
one that you want to reach out to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But
Well, maybe we
then the
could
other,
go. Go
sorry, no,
ahead.
yeah, the last thing is it's a little bit hard to get in contact with them though sometimes. So you have to like their stuff. You have to go onto their Instagram. You have to find their email. Like you just kind of have to be kind of scrappy to get a hold of them.
I bet that's going to turn into a whole different industry as well, just, managing these content creators and so forth. So,
Yeah, I mean that's basically what our agency is turning into.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like we have an entire team that's dedicated to that.
Just managing all the influencers. That's
Yep.
fascinating.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure there's a ton of people that would like to know more about what you do, Ari, and how they can get a hold of you and likes. Can you share your page and how people can get connected with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any kind of like newsletter or anything, happy to send that too. But it's the website is likeandlikes.ai. My email is Ari at likeandlikes.ai. Then my Instagram, if people wants to DM me, or TikTok is Ariel Gordon, Arial, and then Gordon.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. This was a fascinating conversation, and I bet in 6 months this conversation will be completely different. So look forward to having another conversation with you in a few months.
For sure. That sounds great, Liesl. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Ari. Thank you for tuning into Leading for Wellness. This podcast is powered by Leading for Wellness CEO and Investor Events and Kalon Executive Search. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your favorite social media platform. And to learn more about our services, visit leadingforwellness.com or kalonsearch.com and follow us on Instagram as well.